Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd could rise up. It could get elevated.
Is there a way to swear that's not
Nerdcore
awkward?
used to be just a made-up word.
You look like you're holding in a poop, Chris.
I might be. We had a lot of Taco Bell last night.
No,
No one could decide what to do, so we got a lot of the bell.
Yeah, that's one that you got to hold in that you're not forcing out.
It's so shitty.
Ah,
No, really, it is. It's a whole thing today. But welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we have been off for 3 weeks, but we're back.
yeah.
We're two 30 to 40 something year olds who talk about pretty much whatever we want, mostly nerdy stuff. I'm
Mostly
Chris.
nerdy stuff. And I'm Kyle. And if you guys would like to be a part of the community, joining on the discussions and all the other things that we do have a Discord server that you can join. There's links in the show notes down below. Discord is a awesome free application that we use to communicate with everybody in the community. There's all kinds of channels out there that you can discuss different things in, from ball sports to anime to Funkos to Legos to food to beer to TV, movies, with and without spoilers, all kinds of stuff. So hop in there.
We
and
do
check
have
that
spoilers ones though too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so check that out. Give us a like and a follow and a subscribe or whatever it is on whatever you're watching or listening to us on. And also, Chris and I stream on Twitch. Chris over there under Guyver Unit 01, GUYVERUNT 01. Myself under KSIG, K_SIG. We haven't been streaming, but we're going to again. So just follow us so
That's
you know
the
when we
plan.
finally get it. That's the plan. So many plans, so many failed plans lately. It's been a thing.
It is a thing.
But we're here now. We're doing this. We've been on a
Welcome in.
welcome. And so what are we talking about? Oh, also, look, we got somebody else here with us because now we got
Who's with
three
us
pictures.
here? Who is that?
That guy down there.
Guten Tag.
Yeah, Mr. Ben, aka StitchTano.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, fellas.
Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
So there's a
So-
reason we have Ben.
Yes, there's a reason we have Ben. We
First we couldn't get anybody else. There was
Yeah,
that.
we needed.
Yeah.
He was kind of our last minute.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
in the bottom of the barrel.
yeah, but
Yeah.
thanks for being down there.
Yeah.
Eh, you
We
know,
appreciate-
someone's got to reside there.
Oh, you're our barnacle.
Ah,
You just keep hanging on.
our happy little barnacle.
Oh, barnacle Ben.
Mhm. Better than
I was
Dingleberry.
About to do
Ben,
the
just hanging on.
SpongeBob. Oh. So, what we're talking about today, we're talking about, is she or isn't she Ashoka Tano? Why are we talking about this? Her show is coming out this week. We were trying to get this out last week. Kyle's still having the internet troubles last week. Hopefully, we're good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Been a whole
But
thing.
it comes out this week, and they actually up the time frame on it when it's coming out.
Bumped it up. Woohoo.
So, which is really cool, but at the same time, you kind of going
Glaven.
So now it's coming out this Tuesday,
6 p.m.
6 p.m.
See them this Tuesday. That
EST,
is-
right?
Is it?
I think that's Eastern Standard.
No, it's Disney,
Central
not
Standard.
the sports channel.
Oh,
the world
my
doesn't
bad.
revolve around Central. We know that.
Well, it
It
should.
does now.
We're in the
But
middle. That makes the
It comes
most
out.
sense.
So, why we're talking
Pacific-
about
Pacific
Ahsoka-
Standard Time.
So it's 8 o'clock Central.
That's really a specific time.
That is
Specific standard time.
Pacific.
Paschetti. So,
Paschetti. We're talking about Ahsoka. Why are we talking about Ahsoka? The series looks amazing. It's a lot of what we've been waiting for. We're going to kind of go over some overview of it. We're going to go over the main point of today is to go over who is Ahsoka, what drives her background, and Mr. Ben is going to give us, he is our resident expert in Ahsoka.
Mhm.
Hence the StitchTano. We want to go over what the essential Ahsoka is, what you need to know about her before the show starts, what episodes you should be watching before the show starts. I know that's going to be, because we're so late on this, it's going to be kind of a hard time crunch, but at
Yeah, you
least
can
try and get most of it in. You'll understand who she
So
is.
go
a lot
back and
better.
watch them.
So,
It's
And-
always who is
and-
Ahsoka? What is Ahsoka? It's never how is Ahsoka.
or where is Ahsoka?
Where is Ahsoka?
We want to.
She's in a galaxy far, far away.
Doo-doo.
And that's it, guys.
Yay!
Episode over.
But
long
Mr.
time
Ben
ago.
is also going to give us the if I don't know if he got to it or not. The episode order that you should be watching it in.
Of
Let's get to it.
of shows
her-
that you should watch before.
Yeah.
Kind of have.
Okay.
little
Well,
bit.
we got a kinda.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
better than a nada.
We get a good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what we really shoot for on this show. Just good enough.
It's
Good
good enough.
Mhm. It's
So,
adequate.
Ahsoka. Who is Ahsoka?
Ahsoka, also known as Snips by her master. She is the Padawan learner for Anakin Skywalker. And before all you fanboys go out there and say Anakin Skywalker did not have a Padawan, George Lucas made it very clear to Dave Filoni when they were discussing the whole Clone Wars series that Anakin did have a Padawan. And now, as we know, Dave Filoni has kind of taken the ball and ran with it with George's guidance. But George is the one that wanted Anakin to have a Padawan, and Dave Filoni is the one that created Ahsoka. So that's the
What Papa George wants, Papa George gets.
yeah, that's kind of her creation of her, how she came to life in Star Wars.
So she has been in. Well, let's go with this. She's portrayed by Rosario Dawson in the live action,
Mhm.
which that's honestly to me that's a perfect casting choice.
Very, very well. done.
Ashley is it Eckstein?
Eckstein.
Eckstein. She is the essential voice of Ahsoka that we all know.
Okay.
And the motion capture was done by Lauren Mary Kim in the Clone Wars. She is also known by two other aliases. What are those, Ben?
She's known as Snips. That's her nickname. Her other aliases are Ashla, which I think is a small tie to Ashley Eckstein or Eckstein, and then Fulcrum in the Rebels series. So you'll see her in both the Clone Wars animated series. That's where she was introduced, and then she continues on to the Rebels series, which is where the Ahsoka show is going to. That's its origin, is the Rebels. We're going to see a lot of characters from that show.
So,
Not so much the Clone Wars.
yeah, they
Sorry.
pull a lot more from Rebels.
Mhm.
Although it is very important that you know some of the Clone Wars lore to understand her motivations and her drive and what she is, what she isn't.
Very
she
important.
is a, correct me if I'm wrong on the pronunciation, Togruta.
Very well done.
The Togruta are known for they're kind of like the what's the other race with the tendrils?
Lekus or Twi'leks.
Twi'leks. Kind of like Twi'leks, except they don't have the single.
The Twi'leks have two. Twi
They got
two.
the two. Oh, that's
and
right.
then
that's
Lek
right.
is the Lekus, short
That's
for
they're
Lekus.
the ones. Okay.
The Grutas have 3 Lekus and then 2 Montrals. That's their horns. And the Montrals are supposed to, they kind of give them not like an echolocation, but an enhanced sensory of presence, which why they believe she's such a good Jedi is that
She has all that.
her species is kind of inept or adapt to
They're kind of inept.
force.
We don't talk about them. Now, are the tattoos on her face? Is that part of the species, or was that tattooed?
It's not tattooed, it's just part of the species. Baby Ahsoka, if you go to the what's that series they just came out with the same artwork from Clone Wars and Rebels, it's Tales of
Tales of the
Jedi or
Jedi.
something.
Is
Baby
it
Ahsoka
young?
just
Yeah.
has 2 white dots.
And then they grow over
They
time, right, as
grow.
they get older.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Which
Not a
is really
tattoo.
cool.
Mhm.
You guys go on. I'll be right back.
What? Since
Go
we're on
ahead.
the topic
Kyle.
of Baby Ahsoka, in that episode of the Adventures of the Jedi, or I forget the actual name of the show, but
Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi. Thank you, Chris. Baby Ahsoka is captured by some type of saber-toothed cat, and on her own as a baby, uses the Force to manipulate the cat or to save herself from being destroyed and eaten by the cat, and return back to her village, where the elder explains that she is Jedi.
So we get that as one of the questions. Okay, so she
Okay.
is Force sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
She was Anakin's Padawan, but is she full on Knight?
Jedi.
Right.
Is she
Yeah.
a Jedi Knight?
Yeah.
No. She
Okay,
was
good enough.
always,
So,
yeah.
you're like, nope. All
She
right.
was always a Padawan, and
She never took the trial.
Right. That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Well, she started it. If I remember right, she never finished.
yeah, there was if we continue on with the discussion, there was a major event that happened that affected her choice.
And we'll talk about that here in a little bit too. But she was, as we said, formerly a Padawan, which is the Jedi apprentice. Her second job, I guess you could say, she became a Rebel Alliance spy master as Fulcrum. She never went full on Jedi. But here's the thing about that. Just because you don't get the title of Jedi, Kyle and I have discussed this before. Ahsoka is the most Jedi out of all of them. Ahsoka to us embodies what a Jedi is.
She's of the old belief that Qui-Gon has, that the Jedi are still good in the Jedi. Not that the Jedi are evil, but from Revenge of the Sith, it's Anakin says the Jedi are evil. And so I don't know what I'm trying to get with that, but
Kyle,
So-
you look like you want to say something.
Well, no, I'm just thinking. I'm taking a lot of it in because, like I said, some of this was like what we're going through. This like for people like me that have made all the way through Clone Wars and who I haven't even started Rebels, and so just like I'm definitely very aware of her. I mean, you can't not be, even if you haven't watched those shows, you can't like not be aware of her. And so being able to hear some of this, like, okay, get a little bit of the background, knowing what I'm going to need to watch eventually, time permitting, before, and I'm probably not going to be able to for the first episode. I'm going to be honest. Like, it's stuff to watch, but I'm still excited because it's new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah.
And, we were going to talk about the time frame because we did see her recently, live action her recently.
Yep.
And so I've do what I do and try to avoid reading ahead too much, like on any new shows, because I just kind of want to just go in totally open minded. Like, am I going to like this? Am I not? And try not to be swayed too much by, like we were talking about earlier with fanboys hopping on. Like, there's no way this is going to be good because of this, this, and this, and you get really deep down into those rabbit holes. But with hers, I haven't even looked to see if that time frame is along the same time when we saw her last live action, which was Book of Boba Fett, or was it Mando? It was Book of Boba Fett, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Last time we saw Ahsoka, no. That was Mandalorian season 3, the beginning.
The beginning? No,
Or
the
was
last
it-
we saw her was Book of Boba Fett, which was technically Mando or season 2.5. It was the one like Mando episode in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
That
Was it? 'Cause
Mando.
I thought it was the end of the beginning
Yeah,
of
when-
Mando.
they had Grogu and were they going to the temple or a temple?
Luke and Ahsoka are rebuilding a Jedi temple, and Grogu is their first Padawan, I guess, or learner. And Din Djarin shows up with the chainmail or whatever, and they're like, he can't take that. He can't be associated with you, like, or can't have.
That's right. That was the end of. That's
Yeah,
right.
like he can't be two things.
Can't have the tie to you. He has to give up all his earthly possessions and focus solely on the Force.
Yeah, because that's when we're trying to see like what choice is he going to make.
That's right. And that was at the end because at the beginning of 3 Mandalorian, that was when they were on that planet already.
Yeah.
That's right. If you all can tell, it's been a while in between these, so we get confused.
And we're also
It
getting
happens.
old. And
Has
so
been, and it's early in the morning for me.
is her show happening during that time or is it earlier? Do we know?
It's happening. It's the same timeline as Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian.
Okay.
It's
It's all
post
parallel.
Empire.
Okay. That's kind of what I was curious about because we would be able to. It would be nice if we had a name for that. I mean, there's that time period, but it seems like Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, this new series are all kind of. I mean, they're all going to be connected, obviously, because of the time frame of it where they all land. So,
I believe Dave Filoni's been quoted calling it the Mandoverse.
The Mandoverse.
I like that.
I do too.
Which
I
is
would also think it'd be something like the rebirth of the Mandalorian chapter. I guess you could also say.
mm-hmm.
'Cause it's not that
Mandoverse
far
just
off.
rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, Mandoverse is much better. So let's talk about Ahsoka's, like, why she was created real quick. So she was developed to illustrate how Anakin develops from a brash, undisciplined Padawan into the more reserved Jedi Knight. So this is in between 2 and 3. George Lucas had 2 daughters, and he wanted a character that appealed to girls. Hence Ahsoka. Here it is. Early in development, Ahsoka's name was Ashla. Renamed her after the ancient Indian emperor Ashoka. The spelling was then altered by screenwriter Henry Gilroy. And then Filoni developed the character, and what he had problems with Ahsoka was he had zero perspective what it was like to be a 14-year-old girl. When we first see Ahsoka, she's a 14-year-old girl.
Mhm.
And so that's why I think some of the earliest writings of her was a little rough because they didn't really have the perspective on what a 14-year-old girl would be going through. It was a bunch of old nerds writing for her.
I remember those like first couple episodes. She seemed very like, I don't want to say it was like out of touch, but it was kind of forced and very like Saturday morning cartoony in a way.
I can see that.
But I don't have any, like I said, I don't have anything to compare to the later episodes. But that was kind of the feel I got. So like I said, that makes sense now.
Right.
Why?
Well, and Filoni also said the minute that he started writing for Ahsoka, he had the battle between her and Vader in mind, like from the very beginning. So that was in development from the get-go.
He apparently also used to joke with Ashley about how Ahsoka dies. He'd just constantly come up with different storylines that Ahsoka's dying because Ashley was so attached to Ahsoka.
Well, and she said too that she and the writers were aware at the beginning that fans found Ahsoka annoying.
You think that's just because she was new? Like this? I mean, because we see that a lot.
She was whiny.
Well, yeah, but a lot of times
whiny,
like,
but she was also very much very similar to a younger Anakin. Let's not forget how whiny Anakin was in 2.
Yep.
And very feisty, hence the nickname Snips. I mean, she's very snippy, just like. Sadly, a girl can act one way and get called Snips. A boy can act one way and he's just being a boy.
Yep, and that was going to be my next point. Like, that goes back to Kyle and I's whole thing about, is it fair because she's a girl, she's annoying? But if it was a boy, it's just like, oh, it's character development.
Yeah.
I'll call them both annoying. But
Well,
fair on
Luke
that
was
level.
You're a
annoying.
parent to both genders, I'm
Yeah.
assuming, correct? And
Luke,
Yeah.
Luke was annoying as shit in
Yeah.
early Luke.
I was
episode
going to
4.
Oh,
Toshi
yeah.
Station to get some new
Oh, it runs in the
customers.
family. That's okay. Well, now I see where he got it. But I never
He's
even
like,
really thought
Your
thought
dad
about
was
that.
a bitch, Luke.
luckily, Leia got all of Padme's
Yeah.
social.
Speaking of Padme, you see that her husband, she's getting divorced.
Well, she's
Kyle, you got
Natalie
a chance.
Portman.
Oh, the actress. Okay, I thought you
Yeah,
were talking
no,
about
that
Padme,
Natalie
like-
Portman or Padme. No, she's
Yeah,
getting
Padme
divorced
broke up with Vader.
Yeah.
because
From the grave.
her husband supposedly cheated on her with a 25-year-old. It's like, no, I'm sleeping with Padme.
Mm-hmm. No, you should say you're sleeping with Natalie Portman because, as we said, Padme's dead, and so you're opening up a whole new can of worms and/or space coffin with that.
Okay, let's
That's how
bring
you
this
get
back.
wanted on 12 systems, Guyver.
I'm a wanted man on 12 systems.
I don't like you.
Okay, and that came full circle.
Anyway,
So yeah, so that's a little bit. In order for this Ahsoka series to happen, and if you haven't watched Rebels, Ahsoka survived Order 66.
let's back up a little bit.
Go ahead.
Let's
Yeah, back
back
that
up a
thing
little
up.
bit to what's truly shaped Ahsoka to who she is, and that is the betrayal of the Jedi. There was one very important arc in Clone Wars is the temple bombing. So on Coruscant, the main Jedi temple, there's a bombing that happens, and Ahsoka and Anakin are not on the planet at the time. They're in Felucia, I believe, and they are called to investigate the bombing since they weren't there. Long story short, Ahsoka's being framed, and the Jedi completely turn against her, including Anakin. Anakin just wants to save her, but he's not on her side. He's just trying to stop her. And it turns out that it is another Padawan who's a very good friend of Ahsoka's named Barriss Offee. And she is Luminara. I forget Luminara's full name, but Luminara's Padawan. Luminara is I wrote it down here, Mirialan, Mirialan. They are usually like different colored, kind of look green. I believe Barriss and Luminara are. They have facial tattoos. They are actually tattoos, either like on their chin or under their cheeks. Luminara wears a big, huge black dress, if that helps anyone know who she is. But they go to trial. They figure out that Barriss is the actual bomber. Long story short, and the Jedi say, "Oh, well, Ahsoka, you can come back." And Ahsoka's like, "No, you aren't who you say you are. You're not the peacekeepers. You're not the Jedi Order is broken." And so she leaves, and that's where one of her famous lines is, "I am no Jedi."
Which is a great line. And the way that Ashley delivers that is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Very powerful indeed. It's what got my wife addicted. Well, she's not addicted, but appreciates Ahsoka as much as I do.
So, what do you think, Ben, in your opinion, drives Ahsoka? What is her motivations? Like, is it to be a better person? Is it to make the galaxy a better place? What's her motivation?
She's I would say she's very positive, and she sees like I said earlier, she has that Qui-Gon Jinn viewpoint where the Jedi are good. There's still hope for the Jedi. There's still hope for the galaxy. It is huge. The Jedi are few, but they're not supposed to be out there being generals in a war. They're they're not supposed to choose sides. They're supposed to serve and protect. I mean, I feel like you could, if you want to get political, you could see it as the police. They're supposed to serve and protect, but that's not always the case. And it's not that they're all bad, but there's some bad apples. I mean, obviously, Barris betrayed or tried to frame Ahsoka to get rid of her. But she sees there's still good. There's still purpose for the Jedi more than what she's basically done her entire career of being a general in the Clone Wars and leading clones into battle. I mean,
So
she goes through a ton. She gets captured by Trandosians for a Trandosian hunt. That's where she meets Chewbacca originally. She Obi-Wan, Anakin, and her somehow end up on this strange planet of Mortis, I think is the name of the planet. And it's
It's
basically
a very rigorous mission.
yeah. There's a father that it's basically a force planet, and the father is the center, and then the daughter is the light side, and the son is the dark side of the force. And she goes through all of that. She ends up dying on that planet because the son of the dark side bites her and infects her and like really pulls the evil out of Ahsoka. And Anakin has to basically fight for his life against Ahsoka. But then Ahsoka ends up dying, and the daughter of the light side ultimately sacrifices herself to bring Ahsoka because she sees Ahsoka. She like sees her potential, sees the good, sees that she is more than just Anakin's Padawan, I believe, because the whole episode is supposed to be focused on Anakin being the chosen one and bringing a balance to the force between the son and the daughter. But it ends up, to me, it ends up being more of an Ahsoka story because clearly, like, the light side of the force chooses Ahsoka. We need Ahsoka.
Would you say that the light side chose her to become the champion? Almost like an avatar?
I believe that fully. And I mean, I think there's a lot of symbolism in the lightsabers because in the live action Ahsoka, she has white sabers. Can't get any purer than white lightsabers.
Finn's beliefs on white sabers and pure do not necessarily reflect those of EGTN.
I'm not saying
We respect
Yeah.
dark sabers, yellow sabers,
dark sabers aren't bad, but purple.
green
not a fan of
sabers,
Mace
purple.
Windu. Not a fan of Mace Windu and his
what about
purple
light purple?
conflicted
Flat
lightsaber.
purple, we accept flat purple.
Anyway, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit,
No, you're
No,
good.
that's
This is
that's
what
filling it all in there.
but
yeah, this is what we need.
But then as we move on, Ahsoka, she leaves the order, but she's called back to help with what was the mission? To help capture Darth Maul. Darth Maul, long story short, he's taken over Mandalore. He's got the darksaber.
what
he's the leader
organization
of
did he take
Mandalore.
over?
And Ahsoka's called back to help take down Maul, to capture him. And that's when, if let's see here if I have a minifig, but anyway, that's when we had those cool clone troopers with the orange face masks, because the clones even appreciate Ahsoka. They love Ahsoka.
Because she tries not to kill them.
She
sees
tries
them
not
as
to kill them, but she
individuals.
also sees.
I would also like her for that as well. Like I can kill you, but I'm not. Cool. I like you.
But one of the
We're
main
friends now.
One of the main themes in the whole Clone Wars is that clones are not just robots. They're not droids. They are people, and Ahsoka sees them as people. She's never treated them as anything else. They are individuals. That's why they constantly want different names instead of going by their clone trooper numbers.
They're more than a number.
They're more than a number.
And just like my Ahsoka Stormtrooper helmet that I got. or clone trooper. It is beautiful. I haven't even gotten it out of the box yet.
What is it? 332nd? Is that what it?
322. Yep.
320. Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
so
kind of
one
going
the
back.
things.
Oh,
go ahead.
I
Go
was
ahead.
saying,
Go
kind
ahead,
of
Doc.
going back to time frame and stuff really quick, and with this new show coming out, and we hit earlier where we saw Ahsoka first in the Mandalorian with Luke, and so we know that like that exists. She met Luke somewhere.
Yep.
And we know that her show is taking place right up when supposedly roughly when Rebels left off, where it left off, like kind of close there. So
Mhm.
you think we're going to be seeing how she met Luke? How, because, Rebels ends before 4. Yeah, before New Hope. And then Mando picks up after 6. So there's a lot of time in between there.
Oh, Rebels ends with the fall of the Empire. Technically, well,
Did it carry on through? I didn't. So this is me not knowing. So
see the Rebels in the last episode, the Empire has left Lothal, and so I think they're trying to say that the end of Rebels is the end of the Empire. Also, it's that post
okay. So
Empire.
I'm
there's still
looking this up too.
there's still Inquisitors out looking, I think.
well, that's kind of how it was at the beginning of the Mandalorian too. There was still like little pockets of things
Yeah.
left over, and so I'm just kind of wondering with her show now if that's what they're going to explore is how it was like her and Luke.
I
Because
don't think we're gonna get much Luke.
okay.
Rebels is in the same timeline as Andor before the events of Rogue One, and 14 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. So it's the
It ends. It
end of it's right at
begins in the
near
year
end.
5 BBY and ends in 0 BBY, and then Mandalorian takes place in 9 ABY.
Oh.
Well, we had our timelines all kinds of screwed up.
Yeah,
we were all wrong. And then Ahsoka, it hasn't been confirmed. It is believed Ahsoka will take place in the same timeline as Mandalorian, which we know that.
Yeah.
And then
Well, maybe we'll get some flashbacks too, because she
When-
met him somewhere, and we got a really pretty good AI Luke bouncing around.
when
Now.
Ezra and Ren were teenagers and Rebels, Ezra will be about 28 and Ren will be about 30 in this.
Okay.
So this is actually a pretty big jump
Yeah.
time wise.
Was that 13 years or 9?
Yeah, give or take.
13, give or take.
Yeah.
And so if she was 14 at the beginning of Clone Wars,
Clone Wars.
the end of Rebels, she would have been what, like mid-20s?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say.
Okay, so we're seeing. I was wondering if she was like, okay, so the 20, so we're looking at like a roughly late 30s, like about our age, Ahsoka, right?
Middle-aged Ahsoka. Yeah.
Don't say that. We are not middle aged. We are on
We
our
are
way to it.
middle-aged.
35
not.
is officially now middle age, FYI.
You know what? I'm gonna find a new podcast. See you guys later.
Grandpa Mortimer.
I don't even want to be here anymore.
But
But we
So
still look
that's- yeah,
younger
that's
than
the
the
time frame.
entire Cheers cast.
Oh God.
Kyle.
Yeah, because they were like 33 or some shit. Like
Did you see that video I
Woody
posted on the
Harrelson.
Discord?
Yeah. Woody. Who did I post this?
Woody was 24. I posted it saying
You
that
posted.
how do
That's
you
right.
look younger than
Oh,
the entire
that's right.
cast
Yeah,
and you're
yeah,
in
yeah.
your mid 40s?
Yeah, Woody was 24 at the time. And then like Ted Danson was like 65.
No,
Yeah,
Ted
he-
Danson was 33, but he looked like he was 65.
how old was Norman?
Norm was
30s.
like, yeah, he was in his 30s.
Early 30s.
Ah.
BB
And
Newworth
this is all
and
related because
Kelsey
John
Grammer.
Ratzenberg is
Yeah.
also in episode 4 of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right.
And then
Cheers and
Kelsey
Star Wars, it
Grammer
goes
was like
together.
29 during the thing too. During
Mhm.
Cheers.
Oh
So
wow.
okay, back to Ahsoka.
Back to Ahsoka. So at the end of when Padme dies, that's when because she's supposed to be in hiding because Order 66 just happened, but after Padme's death, she goes into deep hiding as Ashla. That's when we get that alias, and she just basically tries to hide out on farming planets and blend in with workers. She doesn't.
And that was Tales of the Jedi, if you're wondering what we're talking about.
There's that from Tales of the Jedi, and then also the Ahsoka book follows her as Ashla, and similar to what happens in the Tales of the Jedi, she takes on more than just an inquisitor. She takes on a large imperial takeover of a farming planet to help the locals in that book. Lots of Ahsoka stuff here.
That's
but
Ahsoka stuff.
that is
So,
when
Ben, tell us,
Mhm.
what are the episodes that people what are the okay, start this way, because we got about 20 minutes here.
Yeah.
What is the essential Ahsoka episodes that people should watch? You don't have to go explain why, but just what episodes,
just which ones. Okay.
and what order they should be watching them in.
I would
In your
definitely
opinion.
In my opinion, I would go with the animated Clone Wars movie. In case you didn't know, there's a Clone Wars movie.
It's what started it all.
And that's where that's where you see Ahsoka meet Anakin for the first time, and you get a little bit. I think that's where he decides to call her Snips. You just get a kind of a good understanding of who she is there, and then from there, on Disney Plus, they actually have, if you go to the Star Wars page, they have a section that's Ahsoka essential episodes. So I would season 1, episode 2 is an important one, involving General Grievous. Season 1, episode 19. It's another important episode with Ryloth is needing assistance. Ryloth is the home planet to the Twi'legs.
Where we meet little Hera for the first time.
Is that where we meet Hera for the first time, or do we meet Hera for the first time on Bad Batch?
Yeah, we met Hera as the daughter of the leader on that first season.
Okay. And then from there you can watch the Wookiee Hunt arc, the Trandoshan Hunt. That's season 3, episodes 21, 22. And then probably the most important to understand Ahsoka and her loss of faith in the Jedi would be season 5, episodes 13 or episode 17, 18, 19, 20.
A big loss of faith.
Yeah, exactly. And then from there, season 7 was I think they made season 7 like 8 years after season 6. And so you start to see Ahsoka, she meets up with the Martez sisters, which people hate because fanboys are stupid. But we see them in the Bad Batch going after a droid head, and then
They had
in the room.
The garage too, where they hold up for a little bit.
Yeah. So Ahsoka basically lives there in the garage, helping them. These sisters are conflicted, trying to make an honest living. One's not trying to make an honest living.
Is it the Martinez sisters?
Martez. So you have Ahsoka there, and you kind of see her post Jedi dilemmas of, do I use my Force powers? How do I stay hidden? How do I help without standing out and
Being
getting
hunted.
Inquisitors on me? So basically all of season 7. I think there's only like 12 episodes or something.
Right. Well, it's actually very important to the bigger story.
Yeah, it wraps up Ahsoka a bit more with a nice pretty bow to get you moving forward. And then Tales of the Jedi, I would say anything that has Ahsoka in Tales of the Jedi is important. I mean, yes, you can watch her as a little kid, but Anakin does prepare her for Order 66 without knowing it. He basically just keeps training her how to fight against the clones and survive massive attacks. And then from there, we move into Rebels. And in Rebels, she's not a main featured character. She is Fulcrum. That's her alias. She's trying to aid the rebels with kind of as a spy, but you only see her a little bit. And I forget. There's an episode where
There's the end of season 1 and beginning of season 2, I believe. Isn't that where she fights Vader?
yeah, the season
would be
2,
important.
episode 2, she fights Vader. Um,
How many Rebel seasons were there?
4.
4.
4. Yeah.
Rebels isn't that bad to get through, and Rebels is arguably my favorite show that they
Oh,
did.
yeah. I think I've watched it 3 or 4 times since the pandemic. I mean, there's just so much good stuff in it. Season 4, episode 13 of Rebels, I believe that's the last time we see her, and that's when Ezra saves her. Like, Rebels, they definitely take some liberties and going crazy, I guess. Like time jumping and behind the curtain, I guess you could say. Yeah, weird things with Jedi temples. Let's just leave it at that, I guess.
Okay.
And Ahsoka or Ezra's able to go from one planet on one time to another planet on another time and he pulls Ahsoka back and saves her from somebody. I'm leaving it vague.
If we could get this list too, we need to post this in the Discord
Yep.
for all the peeps.
Man, if you could get this to us, or you could post it if you want.
Yeah, you can do that. You do. You know what? We're not going to do it.
We're not going to do
That's
it.
your
You
list.
do it.
Yeah. And it's the person that helps bring her into the rebel fight is Bail Organa, father of Princess Leia, adopted father.
Yeah, it's still her father,
Yeah.
Faja.
Asha. He taught her love for Lat Herbal. So there you guys have it, guys and girls. What our resident Ahsoka expert believes are the episodes that you should watch in the order, just because this will give you a better understanding of who Ahsoka is. Let's take a little bit of time to talk about thoughts on the new series, because we have seen from Rebels in the previews, we have seen Ahsoka, we've seen Hera, who is played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is married to
Hello there.
Ewan McGregor. So husband and wife are in the same universe now, which I think is kind of cool. We saw Chopper. We've seen the Ghost. We've seen Sabine. I have a feeling we're going to see Zeb.
We've seen Zeb.
But I have a feeling we're going to see him during this episode, during this series.
I very much hope so.
Because I love Zeb.
We've seen
and we've seen Ezra.
only in the hologram. My theory is we don't see a live Ezra. I think we only see a hologram, and I think we see a live Ezra in season 2. I think
you think that's where he's going to make, or at the end of season 1?
Because if the big bad, again, where I got the Mandoverse is Dave said that Thrawn is the big bad in the entire Mandoverse. So,
which we have seen at the end of hinted at the end of season 3 of Mandalorian. Middle and end. And Thrawn. We're gonna see Thrawn, who we saw in Rebels and also from the books. Thrawn is just probably one of the most amazing characters you've ever seen.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He doesn't have force powers. He's just hyper intelligent and cunning, and a brilliant strategist.
Oh,
he
yeah.
almost single-handedly brought the Empire back. If that tells you how good this guy is. Something important to note that I pulled. We have new people that they're showing. It's Balin Skull and Shin Hati. Hottie. She's a hottie.
Go with Hottie.
We'll go with Hottie. What's different about these is we have never seen this before in the Star Wars universe. Well, okay, maybe I can't remember in the books or not, but I don't think we have. They have orange lightsabers in the previews.
They're orange?
They're orange.
Interesting.
And if you look at the hilts, they are bigger and thicker than regular lightsabers.
Are they?
So they're
are
not
they?
Inquisitors, huh?
Are they straight or are they like arced, like curved?
Well, so
Because like
You know
I
what
would
Balin's penis looks like, Chris? Is it arced?
it's,
Or is it
it's
straight?
curved to the right.
straight. So Balin's is straight. If you look at his looks like a claymore.
Hmm.
A double-handed claymore, so gigantic.
I was thinking if they were a little arced, I would refer to them as dreamsicles.
It's like, here, let me try this.
Ahsokas are arced?
No. Well, Ahsoka would be their dreamsicle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and we see the Loth cats. Let's not forget about that.
No, you
Oh,
love your
Loth
lost
cats.
cats.
I
We
do
are
love my
also
Loth
going
cats.
to see Harris and Kanan's son, Jason,
Ooh.
in case you didn't know that.
Very spacey name.
So
It's
one of
spelled
the
differently.
Or like
one
an
of the
X.
one of the
in there.
big
Jacen. Something like that.
Jason.
Jason.
So one of the big things that has come out of this too is a lot of speculation is that these two new colored lightsabers are not powered by kyber crystals.
Or by
That's
Duracell.
blasphemy.
They're saying it might be Kohler crystal.
What?
Kohler.
Kohler?
Yeah, that was in the books. Or colon, excuse me.
Wouldn't they be brown sabers then?
I was going to say
K-O-H-L-E-N.
colon would be a poop saber.
Colon. It's a poop. It's a poopsicle.
Got my
That's
They,
space
why it's so
powered poop
big and
stick.
girthy.
Yeah.
what's different in these is there was an ancient, I looked this up, there was an ancient Jedi prophecy that said when the kyber that is not kyber shines forth, the time of the prophecy will be at hand. They used these colon crystals,
I'm going
crystals
colon.
Oh,
on the black market. These guys found this big cache of it, thought that they could sell it to the Jedi, didn't think that it was because they are rarer than kyber crystals. They made shields out of them, personal generators. Lightsabers cannot cut through these shields.
Hmm.
So
Well,
imagine that with on a lightsaber now.
I mean, if you can use it as a lightsaber and fight a kyber crystal, then I hope a lightsaber couldn't cut through that shield, because then their lightsabers would be crap.
I'm still I'm still
Unintended.
intrigued by the colon saber though. That's like
colon saber.
they're bigger. They're harder to wield.
Mhm.
Thought that's something you would find like if you ate way too much Mantel mix, like
It is. I got a colon crystal forming
sideways. It's stuck sideways down there.
So they referred to it as Fool's Kyber, too, originally.
They're produced by Wrecker.
By Rekka. I
Wrecker.
got a colon crystal. But yeah, so it should be really interesting.
I gotta poop.
We're gonna we gotta poop. We're gonna wrap up here. So, what are you guys' predictions for the show? I have intentionally tried to stay away from most articles about the show. But you know, it's impossible to stay away from everything.
Yeah.
So, Ben, what do you think?
I already gave you my prediction on Ezra, but I think Ezra is alive, because ultimately I think they're gonna tie Grogu and Ezra together, because Ezra he's a Jedi that was trained after Order 66, so it's
Mhm.
not so much the don't have attachments to things. Where Grogu definitely has an attachment to Din Djarin. I mean, now
Mhm.
he's Din Grogu, he's his son. So I think Ezra's gonna ultimately train him because Ahsoka has come out and said, I will not train him because he has too much attachment, and there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? She sees a lot of Anakin in Grogu with the
And it
attachments,
scares
Oh
her.
yeah,
and it scares her to death.
I can see that. Never even thought about that.
And
Little
also
Grogu comes out.
Ahsoka fakes her death to hide from Anakin because she used to be able to feel Anakin's presence. When Order 66 happens, she reaches out in the Force and she doesn't find Anakin. Anakin's not there anymore, and that's because Anakin's
Effectively
spirit,
dead.
Force spirit, is dead, and it's now Vader. And then in Rebels, she reaches out one point, and she goes into a deep dark place, and she finds Anakin in Vader, but she finds the essence of Anakin, and it scares her so much that she ultimately collapses and is out for a while. So that's why I think Ahsoka's not going to train Grogu. Ezra's going to train Grogu, and then I think Ahsoka is going to be training Sabine, because Sabine has had the dark saber. She has some training with lightsabers,
Well,
not
she's
so much
shown she's force
Force.
sensitive.
I don't know if she is Force sensitive though.
I think
There's,
she is.
I would say, if you,
She's just force
you
curious.
She's
she's
force
definitely
curious.
Force curious.
Yeah.
There's some episodes of Rebels where Kanan tries to train Sabine with Bindu. Bindu is a whole other character. I won't get into it, but he's
He's
like,
the
why are
fourth
you wasting
Doctor.
your time training this Mandalorian to be a Jedi? She's not a Jedi. It'll never work. So I think there's some I think Ahsoka has a commitment to Kanan to train Sabine. And then I think we're gonna see some Vader too.
Some Vader
Well,
flashback stuff.
they've I think we're definitely going to see Vader in some aspect. They've already teased that Hayden's going to be in the show.
Yes.
So
Bang
whether
idea
that's
right now.
flashbacks or current, I don't know.
I just want to see Thrawn.
Yes, Thrawn is going to be played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Doesn't Mads Mikkelsen do his voice?
No, Lars is playing him.
Lars
Wrong.
Mikkelsen?
Yeah, wrong Mikkelsen.
Oh, is it? It's Lars?
Yeah.
Does he do his voice in the?
He did his voice, didn't he? Yeah, I think he
I
did.
thought
Think so.
that's
Yeah, he did his
That's-
voice. Where was it? Does he not get credited for it? Surely he got credited for it. He did. Yeah, he did the voice in Rebels.
Which he did a great voice. So it's Lars. It's Mads' brother.
Well, my prediction, and because I have really no basis on anything, honestly, so I pulled up my random D20 roller, and it's going to bomb because I rolled a nat 1. So the show's going to do terrible. My prediction. I left it up to the fates here. Yep. So one of us is going to be right. What we got?
So interesting flash fact. David Tennant's going to be back in the show.
Oh yeah, he's the droid.
Hu Yang. Is it Hu Yang?
He's the lightsaber droid.
Yeah. How do you pronounce that? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
That's like Hu Yang, I think. And we have confirmed that Tamara Morrison is going to be
Rex.
So my prediction is that Rex is going to bring in Wrecker, and they are going to train an army of Lothcats to eventually take over the world, what they're going to first do is open a Mantel Mix Cafe. It's a
Ooh.
loft cat cafe, so you can come in and either pet the loft cats, or they will ignore you and show you their force sensitive buttholes.
Mm-hmm.
Man, deep dive here on
It
this.
is a deep
Yeah.
dive. And then eventually Wrecker will take over the universe, the galaxy, as Emperor Wrecker.
Darth Wrecker.
Darth
I'm really
Wrecker.
concerned for you, Chris, between your colon bricks or colon crystals and Lothcat force sensitive buttholes. I think
They could be intertwined.
I would pay good money to see a show where Wrecker goes to the dark side, and it's like it's dead serious the whole time, but he's still doing his Wrecker stuff. But the show is completely serious.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
just deadpan.
I would love that. So, what do you guys think? What do you think is coming up? You know, what do you think about the show? What do you think about Ben's list on what episodes you should be watching?
I looked at that list on Disney Plus, the Essential Ahsoka, and there's 18 episodes that they have for you to watch, or 20. 20. 2 of those are from Mando and Book of Boba Fett, so those are an hour apiece. So realistically, 6, 7, 8, like 9-ish hours you could watch all that
Between now and Tuesday, go.
Well, they're basically 20-minute episodes. I mean, you can get
Go.
through it.
And he's gone. With that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom.
All right, I watched them. They were good.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle, and wherever you guys are, please have a great evening, nighttime, daytime, evening time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And please be good to each other.
And thank you, Ben, for being on
Yes.
and being a resident
Thank you.
expert. And stay fresh, cheese bags.
Could rise up.
See ya.
It could get elevated. Nerdcore could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made up word. MCs shied away from.